when you think of crypto, that's what most people think of. They just think of meme coins, and it's hard not to, because a lot of the projects that are promoted the most are meme coin projects, right? They are. And, you know, one of the things that I think people should be aware of with meme coins is that essentially what happens is, you know, opinion leaders, like KOLs, that have large followings will get contacted by these people, and they'll say, hey, we want to give you an allocation in this meme coin in exchange for promoting it, right? For tweeting about it, for making a YouTube video about it. Sometimes they'll just try to be sly, and they'll just say, hey, can we give you this? No strings attached. Wink, wink, right? You don't have to do anything, but if you want to, obviously it's in your best interest. And that's kind of the idea that's what happens, right? So then obviously I say no to all these things, or really I just ignore them. And then a few days later, what I'll see happen, I'll see a lot of influencers then promote them, right? Promote the very meme coins that I saw being sort of pushed to a lot of different influencers, right? And so they come out, ready to plunder, right? And they'll call for alt season, they'll call for the next 100x gem, and then they'll do, like, you know, this promotion for a meme coin. They'll dunk on Bitcoin dominance, right? Because it's obviously in their interest to do so. And they'll talk about how great this meme coin is. But in reality, like, they're only doing so because they were given an allocation in the project to begin with. So it's cool for them, you know, it's easy for them to just act all cool and tough, and say that, you know, it's for the culture, there's a great community. But in reality, they're just fleecing their followers out of their money, out of their sats, right? Out of the Satoshi valuation of their portfolio, by dumping on them as soon as the project's launched. And this process goes on and on and on and on. And there's this idea, this delusion in the meme coin space, that these projects that get together, you know, they spend all like a minute launching the meme coin. They spend far longer just figuring out who gets what. It's like they feel like they deserve all this money. They feel like they deserve to go, you know, to cash in and to snipe the token right as it's launched. But in reality, like, there's not really any hard work going in. It's just launching a meme coin that anyone could do, and trying to capitalize on it. And so this has become a cancer for the industry, because it's just that same thing over and over and over again. And if you look at, like, the Sol Bitcoin chart, right? If you look at the Sol Bitcoin chart, some of the larger meme coin platforms that were launched, that a lot of you guys, I'm sure, have spent some time on, were launched right around here. So a lot of these meme coins have obviously been focused on, you know, they've been on Solana. And what's interesting, a lot of people thought that meme coins were the reason that Solana was so successful, as measured from the lows. But you could argue that the very thing that people think
just a taste
is what made Sol Bitcoin go up might actually be the thing that caused it to stall out. Because a lot of those platforms were launched in early 2024, right? They migrated over to the ones that were seeing the biggest moves higher. And this is something that they capitalized on, right? And you can see that what's happened is that Sol Bitcoin has basically gone through this very long distribution phase. And, you know, I'm sure there's going to be a pump again on Sol Bitcoin at some point, and a lot of people will say, oh, you know, see, we told you so. I mean, right now you can see it's nearing that low. But the point is, right, the point is with the meme coins is that regardless of any future pumps, right, regardless on dead cat balances or whatever it might be, the point is that they're not actually good for the industry, right? And you could look at Solana and say that it was actually doing pretty well. It was doing pretty well. Like, the Sol Bitcoin chart was doing really, really well. And then all these platforms launched and killed any momentum that Sol had on its Bitcoin pair. So again, like the people that really like Solana and that promote it and say how great it is, the problem is that the meme coins are actually killing the momentum of Solana on its Bitcoin pair, because all that SOL that people are losing, that's just getting traded back for stable coins, right? Or traded out into something else. It's getting traded out. And so what happens is a lot of retail investors, they lose their SOL, no pun intended, right? They lose their SOL, maybe a little bit. They lose their SOL trading these meme coins, and then the platforms then take it, or the influencers, right? Whoever, the insiders, right? They take it, part with it, and it causes SOL Bitcoin to just not really go anywhere, because the selling pressure that wouldn't have otherwise existed is now there. Like, imagine as an investor, if you hold Solana, if you had just held your Solana, the selling pressure for that Solana wouldn't be there, right? Because you probably would have continued holding it. But instead, what a lot of people do, right, is they trade their Solana. I want to say they trade their SOL, right? But they trade their Solana, for a meme coin or something, and then that Solana that they trade, that ends up getting sold off eventually, right? Because the people that are profiting from this aren't going to hold on to it, right? I mean, they just want to cash out, make as much money as they can. They don't want to hold on to it, so they just cash it out. So what would have otherwise not been sold, had it just stuck in the investors' wallets, then there's all this sell pressure on a token that wouldn't have been there without all these launches of all those platforms. So this chart is not unfamiliar, right? It's not like SOL Bitcoin is the first chart that looks like this. We've talked about, you could argue ETH Bitcoin. It looks the same. It's just SOL Bitcoin is delayed by 2.5 years. But the same process is playing out on the ETH Bitcoin chart, where you had about an 89% drop, and then a 400 to 500% rally. And then over here, you could argue it was sort of the NFT craze, right? Where people got distracted from ETH to NFTs, and then ETH Bitcoin then eventually stalled out and went down. And over here, it was ICOs, right? And it stalled out and went down, right? So what a lot of times happens is there can be a project that on its own is fine, but then people, because they're looking for ways to get rich quick, right? So rather than just hold the token and wait a few years, they want to look for ways to get rich quick. So they launch other things on the chain that then become distractions to the overall chain, and it causes that chain to stall out on its Bitcoin pair and then go back down. And I think that's what you're essentially seeing happen on the SOL Bitcoin chart, right? You're basically seeing it stall out because investors stopped focusing on the underlying chain, Solana, and they started focusing on the meme coins instead. And that's what's allowed this to happen. So, look, I think it's a difficult time in the cryptoverse. Obviously, sentiment is really bad, and that can easily happen when Bitcoin just going sideways for a couple of months, and it's been it's been going down a little bit, right? I mean, it's, for the last 3 to 4 weeks, it's mainly just been trending down, really ever since the inauguration. I said January 20th would very likely be at least a local top, because it's basically pricing in perfection, right? It's pricing in a strategic Bitcoin reserve, you're pricing in all this deregulation, you're pricing in, Gary Gensler resigning, and, it's pricing in perfection. But then instead of getting, we got some of it, right? Gary Gensler obviously resigned, but there's a lot of it. We still haven't gotten the reserve, the strategic Bitcoin reserve. There's been obviously talk about it being a strategic crypto reserve. We normally lose our way in the post-halving year. And you also have to wonder, as far as it relates to deregulation, I'm all about free markets, but I also think the free market will eventually punish the meme coin market. I don't know how long it's going to take. And, to some degree, it's already been happening over the last few weeks. A lot of these meme coins are down 80% just in the last few weeks. I just think that it's making the industry focus on things that are not important at all and have no bearing in the future of the cryptocurrency, right? They don't. And you know, again, it's easy to paint me out to be the bad guy when I talk about meme coins in sort of a generalized fashion, because there's obviously a lot of people that hold meme coins are like, well, you're not talking about my meme coin, right? But the issue is that at the end of the day, you know, they don't really inherently provide any value. We can pretend, right? We can pretend that they have great communities and all that stuff, but in reality, all the communities are the same, right? I mean, basically, the people buying that meme coin are usually the same people that are buying that meme coin over there. And it just, again, it used to be sort of more of an, I don't even want to say innocent, because I don't think it's ever truly been innocent, but it used to be more of like a, you know, it was easier to ignore. It's like, all right, well, there's a couple of meme coins that people are talking about, and they're having fun, so whatever. Now it's basically everything, right? Everything sort of in the middle has just completely deteriorated. And one of the ways you can see this is that a large reason that the market has gone up for the last few years is because Bitcoin has gone up, right? I mean, total market cap, the main contribution to it going up is Bitcoin. Ethereum is still below 3K, right? I mean, it's nowhere even close to all-time highs. A lot of altcoins are well below their all-time highs. And if you look at like the advanced decline index for the top 100 cryptocurrencies, I'll just scroll down so you can see the description and usage if you want to pause the video and read it. It's been in a downtrend since 2021, right? It's just been a downtrend. So the market is still in this phase of the cycle, right? So you can see it also topped at the 2017 peak, and it went down even after the bull market began.